Okay. Well, you're still watching the big story of Quest Television. If you heard the chairman of TUC, Delta State Council, talking about Mr. BOLUM NWANCHUKWU JP, he said that if you are selling, even if it is Akpu, you need to pay them from 70,000 and above. It's a law, and nobody's above the law. Yes. I think you listen to that. Now that takes me to the next question I'm just about to ask you now. In what ways specifically can the government collaborate with trade unions to ensure that minimum wage policies are effectively implemented and enforced? How can the government collaborate with unions?
I would say government do not need to collaborate with the unions.
Okay.
All they need to do is to implement. Enforcement, with the unions enforce the implementation. Government must implement because it is a law. The private sector, every employer of labor must implement because it is a law. And mind you, minimum wage does not necessarily mean paying 70,000 and a little above. Okay. Those who are earning up to 70,000 before, there's something we call consequential adjustment.
Okay.
Their wage must also adjust upward. If I was earning 70,000 before the new minimum, when it was 30,000 minimum wage, now that it's 70,000, consequentially I have to move up. Those who were earning below 7,000 will come up. Then I have to move up. That's the concept. That is where the implementation has little issue. Many employers of labor will just tell you, we're already paying above 70,000, so on. No. There is consequential adjustment.
Okay.
You have to adjust upward.
I'm sorry to come in now. Does this consequential adjustment, does it have to do with the academic attainment of somebody? For instance, maybe like in a place where you have those who maybe graduated from maybe NCE, or have secondary school passed out, or have NCE people, national diploma, and then you have degree, you have master's, PhD, and the rest. So should this consequential adjustment now reflect, the rise determine the academic qualification, or what guide do we use in, pushing out the finances in terms of this adjustment?
Not necessarily as for academic qualifications.
Okay.
There's something we call, like in public service, there's something we call grade levels and a salary structure. If you are in a particular salary structure, you are doing particular job, you have particular qualifications that places you with certain responsibility. Grade levels and salaries, wages had to do with responsibilities most of the time, not necessarily qualifications.
Okay.
It is expected that somebody who has a higher qualification, have higher knowledge, higher ability, higher capacities, of course, is up there. There's a difference between a manager and a supervisor. And their work is different.
Now, you were talking about we're looking at the consequential adjustment of salaries, and then we're seeing if that is determined by academic qualification or maybe by the role or work that people do in the various institutions.
Yeah, just like I said before, wages are paid by the role you play, not necessarily academic qualifications. For employment, we have some basic entry points. We have primary school. There are jobs that are meant for primary school certificate holders. There are jobs that are made for secondary school certificate holders, those who have studied up to that level. And there are the other jobs that are made for OND. Then you now get to graduates, HND, BScs. Those are the basic qualifications for entry into any work service.
Yeah.
Masters, higher diplomas, postgraduate diplomas is to enhance your job and enhance your ability, and it's recognized by promotions and responsibilities given. Not necessarily for wages, but it will help you grow beyond your contemporaries as graduates and help you get to a higher level, a higher position. The wages are paid according to position, assignments, jobs done, not your certificate. You are not being paid for owning a certificate.
Wow.
You are being paid for using your certificate to work. You pay for work done. So that is why the responsibility of a supervisor is different from the responsibility of a manager.
That's true.
And there is paid for being a manager, not for being a master's degree holder. So that's the issue.
All right. Well, with what you said, I think if it has to do with the work that one does, which means that maybe if you're not careful, one who is a secondary school pastor will collect more salary than you do, based on the kind of work he does or he or she does actually. Now, this now will take us to the next question now. You know, there are a whole lot of things when we talk about industrial action by trade unions in Nigeria. At some point, some states will opt out of it. It looks as if maybe this doesn't really affect us actually. The uniformity in decisions, and that also has been a situation. Now, this is where it's taking me to this question. What role do trade unions play in educating workers about their rights concerning minimum wage and workplace welfare? What are the roles?
The first assignment of trade unions is to help workers keep their rights and welfare. Okay. We fight for the welfare of our workers. That's our basic assignment, welfare of workers. And there is difference between rights and privileges.
Okay.
Rights are those that have to do with your condition of service, employment terms, what you must get. And mind you, every right has obligation. Okay. Rights go with obligation. Then privileges are those things that your employer can do as incentives, motivational incentives. You can't fight for them. You earn them by the work you do. Okay. If they don't do them, it affects your morale and the job is affected. So they do them to keep you. But your right is you have a right to a living wage, which is not possible. So for now, you have a right to minimum wage. Yes, we are battling with minimum wage. It is your right to have a living, to work and earn a living. 2, you have a right to a good working environment, conducive working environment. You have a right to the equipment with which you work. You have a right to be healthy and make your input and get results from it. And so many of them. You have a right to rest. The labor laws spell out all these rights. And those are the things as union leaders, workers' union, we try to get the employers of labor to apply.
I'm sorry, when you talk about right to rest, you know that some of us, when we're learning English language, we understand it more when there's some specific examples attached to it. Now, in Nigeria, like in some other parts of the world, they give some particular hours during the day that one needs to work. At some point, you need to, break and all that. So in Nigeria, do we have some of these arrangements, maybe by law? On which times does a worker deserve to rest?
Of course, we have working hours.
Okay.
After your working hours, you're expected to rest to be ready for the work the next day.
Okay.
In Nigeria, officially, in the public service, we have between the hours of 8 o'clock and some places 4 o'clock, some places 5 o'clock. Yeah. It's spelled out. This is the time you need to work. Then some places, they have at least an hour's break. Some workplaces, you have up to less than 1 hour. It depends on the agreement, the nature of your job. So how about 2 hours? Then sometimes you have off duties to enable you rest. This is your right, depending on what you do. If you work so hard, within the week you may have 1 or 2 days of duties. If you run a shift, some run shifts, you work from this time to this time, from this time to this time, you are off duty so that you can rest. So it is your right to have this. And you have your leave, period, annual leave, vacations. It's your right. It's not a privilege.
Wow.
It's a right.
Wow. All right. Now, by conducive environment to work, I will need you to throw a bit of light here.
Yes.
A conducive environment at your place of work. How exactly do you mean by this?
Good. You must be enabled to perform your function. And you must have a safe environment for your work. For example, you are working, your office must be conducive enough to keep you healthy, to bring out the best in you. It is not a favor the employer is doing to you. The employer is doing so that you'll be able to give your best. So it is your right to have a good environment. Like you are in the studio, you can imagine what it will look like if there is no air conditioner in this studio,
yeah,
I don't know how many hours you will stay here. That's conducive working environment. It has to be clean. You have to be protected from interference. You have to be given all you need to perform. That's conducive working environment. The cameras must work. The environment must be healthy enough. Good fresh air so that you'll be able to concentrate and do your work. This is conducive working environment. Your office must be good enough that when you're in the office, you don't even know time is going. It can be luring. Sometimes I must tell you, there is a joke about the new secretariat when former Governor Kowa, there was the Chike Dozier secretariat. Discovered that sometimes, because the place is very conducive, very beautiful, sometimes night will come. Civil servants will be working. They won't even know that it's night already. They're not looking at their time. By the time they come and they see that it's already dark. These are persons before now, when they were in the former offices, rented apartments, they were not too conducive. Before 2, 3, you see them running away. They go for school runs, and from there they disappear because the office is not conducive. They don't come in, but go to Chike Dozier secretariat. By 7, they're already there. Some persons are there. Sometimes 6, 7, 8 at night. They're still working. They don't even be busy working. They don't even know that the time is gone. My office where I work, sometimes I don't close as, up to 8, 9 at night. We are working. We have work to do. You see yourself continue because the system is working. The office is conducive. With the air conditioner, the facilities that are there, there's light, there is this, and you know you have assignment to accomplish. You are not hurrying to go home. That's conducive working environment.
Oh, okay. Well, we know that you have the right to conducive environment at your places of work. This is the TUC chairman of Delta State Council who is in this here. So he's speaking from directly from the, so he knows what it is, and what he's saying is what is by the law. Anyway, I would have loved to say if we can see the laws of TUC or trade unions as ethics, or we can see them as punishable by the law, actually, if anybody violates that. But that will take us to another discussion. We will not be able to finish now. Now, let me take you back, because we've been traveling to other parts of Nigeria. We'll talk about Nigeria. We need to come back to Delta State, Nigeria. So we'll talk about Delta, workforce in Delta, and then how these, these clamors and all this we're talking about, how this apply in Delta State. Thank God you are the TUC chairman of Delta State Council. Now, let's begin with this question. The minimum wage. The minimum wage. Has it been implemented by Delta State government? And is it across board? Let's we'll find out from you.
Okay, I would say at this point, I want to sincerely thank our governor for being a workers-friendly governor. I must tell you, we didn't have some states up till this moment have not been able to implement.
Wow.
Or have not implemented, not they have not been able, but willingness, the political will to implement.
Yeah.
As soon as the minimum wage was passed, the governor invited myself and the NLC chairman and told us that the minimum wage has just been passed that he wants to implement. We begged him, said, sir, please hold on. Hold on, because the passing of the law is not enough. Then there is something called consequential adjustment.
Yeah.
And it has to come from National Salaries and Wages Commission. They have to work out the details. Because if you say implement, he might not get it right. Wow. And we'll keep quarreling later.
So the government
let's follow the rule. Yes,
the government said, let's implement.
Immediately.
Wow.
So we now begged him to hold on. While we were waiting for the National Salaries and Wages Commission, because it took them almost 2 to 3 months to bring out the consequential adjustment, that's the, we'll call it the chart, salary chart. He came up on some occasions, he will call me and say, when is this thing coming? I don't want to owe, I want to implement. We said, thank you, sir. And he meant it. As soon as the chart came out, we told him it is out. He immediately set up a committee headed by the Secretary to the State Government. We have our own team. We went in to negotiate. But I must tell you, we didn't negotiate. Wow. When we got there, they said, this is the chart from, they said, governor said, fine, I will implement as it is from national. And that's what he did. Wow. Immediately, just adopted that national chart, put it on our salaries and implemented across board. Wow. And I must remark that He was the first governor to implement the national minimum wage in line with the consequential adjustment chart from National Salaries and Wages Commission. The first.
The first in Benue, in
Nigeria. In
Wow.
Nigeria, because we go back to make reports. When we got back to the our national secretariat, we gave reports. We heard from other states. And I just told them my governor has implemented in line with the chart. Wow. And that is it. He did that, and we owe him a lot of gratitude for that. He didn't put us through the mills of negotiating. Many states are still negotiating, dragging up and down. This is what I will do. Forget the political statements that so many governors made as soon as the minimum wage was passed. Oh, it's 70,000, I will do 75, I will do 80. The national minimum wage chart came out with 75. As no, 77.5. And that is what was implemented.
Wow. So in Delta State now, we have 77,000 naira.
It is not the money, because it's consequential adjustment. That is for the least earning person. So he implemented in line with the chart. So that is what, even the federal government didn't pay before him. They started paying after that, because they had to look at it too. Because once the thing came out, as soon as it came out, it was circulated. Federal government have to work it out and see how they can put it into their salaries chart too. We did our own with ease. It didn't take up to 1 week. He said he wanted it that same month, and the workers received it that same month. As I'm talking to you, even the local government all across board, the SOPEDEC, everybody that are under government payment have received it, and it's going on.
Wow. Wow, that's powerful. Thank God. I think thanks to the governor of Delta State for the implementation, and you are directly involved. You are the chairman of TUC, which I'm sure you are speaking from the point of information, which also, attracts our appreciation to the governor for what he's done.